So, you're ready to jump into a career in healthcare, and you've hit a classic fork in the road. Certified Nursing Assistant, a CNA, or Certified Medical Assistant, an MA. They're both super rewarding hands-on jobs, but they really do lead down very different paths. Today, we're going to break down exactly what sets them apart so you can figure out which one is the perfect fit for you.
And that's the big question, isn't it? Is the direct, hands-on patient focus of a CNA what you're really looking for? Or does that mix of clinical and administrative work you get as an MA sound more like your thing? Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll have a super clear map of the training, the daily grind, the salary, and the career opportunities for both. It's all about helping you make a choice you feel great about.
All right, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll quickly look at the two paths. Then we'll dive into what you actually learn and do every day. After that, we'll talk money, salary versus the cost to get there. Then we'll look at the long game, your career growth. And finally, we'll pull it all together to help you make your choice.
Okay, first things first. Let's get one thing straight. Both MAs and CNAs are absolutely crucial to our healthcare system. Seriously. They're both on the front lines, but they just play in different arenas and have really distinct, really important jobs.
And that leads us perfectly into our first big comparison, what you learn versus what you actually do. Because this is where those two paths really start to split. We're going to look at what it takes to get certified and then what your day-to-day life on the job is actually like. You can see the difference right away, can't you? CNA training is incredibly fast. You could be working in as little as a month, and it's totally focused on the basics of direct patient care. MA training, while it's also pretty quick, gives you a much bigger toolbox, right? You're learning both the clinical, hands-on stuff and the admin skills that keep the whole office running. And you can see exactly how that training plays out on the job. As a CNA, your entire day is about the patient, making them comfortable, helping them with basic needs, all while working under a nurse. But as a medical assistant, you're kind of wearing two hats. One minute you're drawing blood or checking vitals, the next you're on the phone scheduling appointments or handling billing. No 2 days are ever quite the same. Okay, let's talk numbers. It's time to get into the financial side of this decision. We're not just looking at what you can earn, but also what you've got to put in up front for your education. Well, this chart makes things pretty clear. On average, a medical assistant just earns more. And the reason for that gap? It really comes down to versatility. That broader skill set, being able to handle both clinical and admin tasks, is just super valuable to employers, and you can see that value reflected right there in the paycheck. So let's just pause on that. We are talking about a potential difference of up to $10,000 a year. Think about that for a second. Over a whole career, that is a huge deal. It can make a real impact on your financial future. It's a pretty powerful number to keep in mind.
Of course, salary is only half the story, right? You also have to think about the initial investment. And yeah, CNA programs are usually a bit cheaper. Traditional MA programs can cost a bit more, which, makes sense when you think about how much more ground the training has to cover.
Now this is interesting. The source material we're looking at makes a specific point here about another option. It says that with certain programs, like the one from CSI, you can actually train for that higher-paying MA job, but for less than half the cost of a typical program.
Okay, so beyond the daily tasks and the starting salary, let's zoom out a bit. Let's look at the big picture. How does this first choice set you up for your long-term career? Where can these jobs take you, say 5 or 10 years from now?
For a lot of people, being a CNA is a fantastic and very direct stepping stone. The experience you get is just an incredible foundation if your ultimate goal is to become an LPN or an RN. It's a really focused, clear, and well-traveled path forward into nursing. The medical assistant pathway, on the other hand, is more of a launch pad. Because you get both that clinical and admin experience, it just opens up so many more doors. You can definitely go into nursing from here, for sure, but you could also pivot into radiology, become a lab tech, or even use this experience as a solid base for pre-med. It's really all about having options. So we've hit all the big points: the training, the daily job, the money, and the future career paths. Now it's time to bring it all home and figure out which of these paths really clicks with what you want to do.
This table is basically your final cheat sheet. Look at the left column. If you want the absolute fastest way into healthcare, you love the idea of that direct, hands-on patient care, and you know, without a doubt, that you want to be a nurse someday, the CNA path is a perfect fit. Now look over to the right. If a higher starting salary matters to you, if you get bored easily and love variety, And if you want to keep your future career options wide open, then becoming a medical assistant is probably the stronger choice for you.
So we've laid out the map, we've shown you 2 different routes, and both of them lead to amazing, rewarding careers where you get to make a real difference in people's lives. The only question left is, based on what you want, what you're passionate about, which direction are you going to choose for your healthcare journey?